Hello friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Let's start our video with a story in which OP's dad, a lawyer turned judge, finds himself in the middle of a hilarious trailer ticket saga. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. You want to see my trailer? Meet me in court. Kinda. My dad, 47-year-old male, is a big fan of camping, but being a lawyer turned judge, he couldn't camp as much as he wants. He'd also gotten tired of setting up a muddy tent for nights on end, so he finally got a camping trailer. It's a nice little one that can fit himself, my stepmom, me, and my two siblings for a night. But it's a tight fit. It's also a tight fit in our driveway, so I can't park my car there anymore. Enough of my complaining, though. Couple months ago, my dad was walking past the trailer when he saw a ticket posted on it, stated that due to city ordinance, my dad couldn't park his trailer in a side yard lot and would be getting a fine if he didn't move it. My dad, being the law-educated man he is, immediately called the number to have a talk with the city official. The man on the phone, who we'll call Ticket Man, told Dad that there wasn't much that he could do other than move his trailer since the driveway goes up to the side of his house, counting as a side yard. Dad asked if Ticket Man could cite the law, and surprisingly, Ticket Man told him exactly where to find it. So my dad sat down with the city zoning laws and read them over. One thing to note about city laws is that there are often differences in what's allowed based on the definitions of properties. For example, a house on the corner of a neighborhood might have different rules than a house in the middle on one. And wouldn't you know, my dad's house is on a corner. The official term for his property in the law is a corner property, and his side yard is called a corner side lot. So he read over the rules again, and nowhere does it ever state that a corner side lot is exempt from parking a trailer on the property. In fact, it isn't mentioned at all, meaning there are no rules to stop my dad from parking it anywhere on his yard. I'd love to say that this is when my dad parked it in the elevated front yard, but my dad would never ruin his grass to be petty, so he just called Ticket Man again. Dad started to explain his reasoning again, but Ticket Man stopped him and said that the ticket was already taken back. My dad asked why, and he explained that normally the city is fine with a few tickets a day, all being very open and shut cases. But a couple days ago, they'd received an order from an unnamed member of the city's board saying that they need to ticket all trailers illegally parked. Now my dad knows who she is and knows that this was absolutely a case of one of her neighbors getting a trailer and her wanting it gone, but that didn't explain how the tickets got rescinded. Ticket Man explained further that the city's legal counsel had told them if they didn't remove the tickets, they would get around $1.5 million in fines, but they would lose out on all of the taxes on these trailers due to most of them being likely moved outside the city to be parked legally. Basically, if they didn't pull the fines, they would lose out on tens of millions of dollars in taxes. Ticket Man had to immediately void all of the over 400 fines. My dad asked him about his corner property argument, and Ticket Man told him that he was actually right, and they had a good laugh over it. However, that's not where it ends. Like I said earlier, my dad's a judge. The week he was hearing a small case where someone was arguing that a ticket on their car was not correct, and wouldn't you know it, one of the witnesses was Ticket Man. My dad told me that the look on his face was priceless when he said hello to Ticket Man. You could see the gears turning in his head as he recognized my dad's voice, but didn't know from where. He's apparently been in his court multiple times since then and definitely remembers where he heard his voice before. It wasn't the most outrageous story, but I love all the different dominoes falling into each other. You've got the city saying no to the board member who now has to deal with her neighbor having a trailer on their property. You've got the city almost losing out on a lot of money in taxes. You've got my dad giving a little heart attack to Ticket Man in court. And then you have Dad's attempt at being petty that he kind of dropped the ball on. I love it. In my fictional world, I could see your dad inviting the Ticket Man out for a drink or something and them becoming great friends. And our second story. Home search Karen encounter. My husband and I remember this to this day. I thought this could be a HOA or a Karen, but I believe it's more of a spying Karen than HOA since we didn't know if they were involved or not. But here it goes. Years ago, we were waiting for our first baby girl to be born, so we were looking for a new home. We found one that we thought was perfect. It had a small yard that was fenced and needed some work, but not too much. It had 4 bedrooms and 2 baths, nice kitchen, everything was great. There were 2 things we didn't like. The parking was away from the house and HOA, but I was thinking positive, but then we found out the rules. So we were close to walking away, but still were thinking positive. What hit the nail in the coffin was what happened after we looked at the house. Neighbor, hey, come here. You come here. I looked around and saw the next-door neighbor, which was 50 feet away from us, pointing at us and my realtor, telling our realtor to come to her, acting like she was the master of the neighborhood. I looked at my realtor and I said, rude, right? So my realtor went to her to find out what she wanted. Neighbor, are these people going to buy the home? Realtor, they just looked at the home and haven't decided yet. Neighbor, well, I'm wanting to know the decision right now. Can I ask them to make their decision right now? Realtor, no, you may not. This has nothing to do with you. Have a great day. My realtor comes back to us and tells us what she says. After that, we knew that we didn't want to live by an entitled Karen. We could just imagine the stress she would put us through and probably complain about the smallest things. After a week had come and gone, we got a call from the realtor of the home. Other realtor, hello. So the neighbor tells me that you want to buy the home. Can I get your details so I can start the mortgage application? Husband, oh no, you may not. We decided that we didn't want to go for that home. We already put in an offer to another home. Other realtor, well, the homeowners are about to go into foreclosure. Can I put in the application and pay you $500 since the neighbor says that you were loving the home? Husband, no, I'm not giving you any information since it can hurt our chance to the home we want. Please tell the neighbor that she's the reason that we don't want the home. And goodbye. We later found out she got our phone number and started calling us, but we blocked her after the first call. Always watch for these types of people when looking for your new home. Wow, that neighbor was a real weirdo. It's good you didn't buy that house. And our last story. My neighbor parked on my driveway, and after that, everything went downhill. Hey Reddit, this story started with what seemed like a simple issue but turned into a complete nightmare. I'm going to share what happened, and honestly, it's ridiculous. So my neighbor kept parking on my driveway. I live in a house with enough room for my car and my daughters, but for some reason my neighbor decided my driveway was his personal parking spot. At first, I thought it was a one-time thing. People can be inconsiderate sometimes, but unfortunately, it became a regular occurrence. One evening, after seeing his car parked there again, I knocked on his door. Hey man, can I ask you not to park on my driveway anymore? I said politely, trying to avoid any drama. Yeah, sorry, I didn't think about it, he muttered and closed the door. I figured that was the end of it, but no, the next day his car was right back on my driveway. So I went over again. Hey, we talked about this yesterday, I said, trying to stay patient. Please don't park here or my daughter won't have space. He frowned, not even looking up from his phone, and said, dude, relax, there's plenty of room. Yeah, but this is my spot, I said, feeling the tension build. If you keep parking here, I'll have to call a tow truck. He looked at me with a smirk. Go ahead, call him. Let's see what happens, loser, he said and slammed the door. Well, since he dared me, I didn't hesitate. The next day, when his car was back on my driveway, I called a tow truck. They came, took the car, and I thought finally the problem was solved. But nope. A couple of hours later, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find my neighbor with 2 police officers. This guy stole my car, he shouted. He had it towed. The cops turned to me. Is that true? One of them asked. Yeah, it is, I calmly replied. I asked him several times not to park on my driveway. I even warned him I'd call a tow truck, and he told me to go ahead and do it. The neighbor started yelling, trying to interrupt me, but the officer cut him off. Look, the cop said to the neighbor, he has every right to have your car towed if you're illegally parked on his property. Also, if you keep calling us for stuff like this, you could get fined for a false report. What? How's this my fault? The neighbor yelled, but the cops just shrugged. In the end, he had to pay about $500 to get his car back. A couple of days later, I wake up and go check my yard, and what do I see? The water in my pool looks, well, let's just say it's not clean. I got closer and realized there was poop floating in my pool. It was so disgusting, I couldn't believe it. Someone had intentionally done this. I went inside and checked my security cameras, and guess what? there he was, my neighbor, sneaking into my yard in the middle of the night. He looked around to make sure no one was watching, and then, no, he didn't throw something into the pool. He literally squatted on the edge of my pool and started pooping. Are you kidding me? I whispered to myself. I called the cops again when they showed up, and I showed them the footage. They couldn't stop laughing. This is the weirdest thing I've seen in a while, one of them said. But honestly, this is a serious offense. They went over to my neighbor's house and knocked on his door. He looked totally chill until he realized the cops were back because of him. What now? He complained. We've seen the video, one of the cops said. What? No way, my neighbor screeched. That's not me. We saw it all on camera, the officer said, pulling out a ticket pad. You're getting a fine, and this could go to court if your neighbor decides to press charges. My neighbor went pale and fell silent, realizing he had really crossed the line this time. I ended up suing him in civil court, and just when I thought it couldn't get crazier, someone, probably him, hacked my computer and leaked the video in our neighborhood group chat. So if you've seen it online, yeah, it's probably that video. But I swear, I had nothing to do with uploading it. After that, the neighbor moved out because he was called different nicknames with the word crap in them. Well, may his path be soft and with good consistence. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.